How do you define success on your terms? Not anybody else's, but your terms. That's what today's video is all about. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe. This is going to support you on your journey toward really living the life of your dreams. And I offer videos on all kinds of topics related to helping women to become the best of who they are here to become, to realize their potential, and to do it in a holistic way so that we're not forgetting parts of ourselves. And today's video is all about how we can define success on our terms, how you can begin to break away from really a patriarchal dominance mode of defining success for yourself and step into a mode that feels truly authentic and aligned with your best self. So I have 4 steps, 4 processes for defining success on your terms, and you can work through these exercises. I encourage you, grab a notebook and maybe jot some of these down, or watch this video again later and go through each piece and take some time with it, because you know what? This is one of those things that we rarely take time to do, and it's so important because we stop and we wonder, why am I not having the success that I want in my life? And a lot of times I find with clients that I have in my coaching and mentoring practice that it begins to stem from not having defined success on your terms. A lot of women have great success, but they're terribly dissatisfied, right? Or they feel like if they are going to have success, they're going to sell their soul in order to get there. And we don't want any of that. So I'm going to give you 4 tips, tools, thoughts, contemplations to work with in order to define success on your terms. The first one is to determine what you want. I know that sounds really basic, but bear with me here. So often we don't pause to ask the question, what do I really want? All right. If I work with a client, a lot of times I might say, what do you want? And she'll either say, I'm not really sure, I don't know, or, I want to build my business, or I want to have a better relationship with my husband, or, I want to be a better parent to my kids. And I say, okay, why? Why do you want that? And so sometimes asking the why question can help us to go deeper to finding what it is underneath it all that we really want. A lot of times we think and we define our success based on what we think we should want. Right? We should want the happy marriage, the great job, the high income, the perfect parenting, etc. I want to offer, in this concept of defining success on your own, looking at it, we often have this kind of ping-ponging, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that, maybe I should do that. We're here, we're there, we're navigating extremes, as I like to call it, right? On the one hand, I'm feeling this, on the other hand, I'm feeling that. And we aren't always sure what we want. It's hard to define what we want. And I want to offer you a free gift. It's a link in the description that you can download. It's my free balance and empowerment cards. Now, these balance and empowerment cards are such a powerful tool. You can print them out. The first pages you can just print on regular paper. I believe it's the last 6 pages that I encourage you to print. You can print them on regular paper, but I encourage you to print them on cardstock, something a little bit thicker, so that they can be firmer. And you'll see that they're wonderful contemplation cards, and they can help you to navigate those extremes, to look at, where am I in this concept of defining what I really want? Sadly, many of us are stuck in lives that don't align with what we actually want. And it's really scary. I want you to have compassion for yourself. It can be really scary to define what you want and realize that you've not been living what you want this whole time. And a lot of times, don't worry, we're not so far misaligned as you might think. A lot of times what we do is align with something, but it's simply done in a way that's not our true picture of success. For instance, maybe you're a parent and you really love to travel, but you've ended up in a job that doesn't allow for that. Or maybe you really would prefer to live a little more holistically, a little more naturally, but you're on the go so much that you can't do those things. So sometimes it's really about getting real about what you truly want, defining it on your terms. Imagine if money were not an object, if other people's opinions were not an object, if you did not have any kind of shoulds floating around in your brain or in your feelings, right? And you could just list what you desire, your desire. First of all, the definition of success is about a desired end. It's about achieving a desired end, a desired outcome. But whose desire are you following, right? We want to define the success on our terms, because success is going to mean something totally different to you than it means to me, than it means to your kids or your partner or your colleagues or your family. Okay? Many families believe that success has a certain path of, a certain income, a certain type of home, a certain type of education, and so on and so forth. And when we begin to redefine success on our terms, we have to get connected with what we want. So how do you do that? Many of you know I'm a big advocate of journaling in all kinds of different ways. I think having a dialogue with your deeper soul self, literally write it out in a journal, take some time to say, dear soul, what do you want? And then sit back and listen, just listen. Engage your senses, be incredibly present to that moment, and write whatever comes. Do not censor, do not eliminate, do not filter. Write whatever comes, no matter how outlandish the idea may be, okay? Because when you are willing to first name what it is that you want, then you can start the juices flowing in terms of opening up to the precision of what you want. Once you list something that you want, begin to ask yourself, why? Why do I want this thing, right? Why is it that this is important to me? Maybe it's a value that you have, a deeper value, okay? In my program, so much of the path that I take people on is this idea of remembering who you are. A huge piece of remembering who you are is knowing what you want and reconnecting to your values, all right? That's often the why. The values are the reason, the care, the passion that you have for something. So begin to ask yourself as you write these things that you want, why do I want it? Right? Maybe there are some underlying reasons and inspirations like freedom. I want freedom. That's why I want this. Or I want prosperity or wellness, or I want fun and joy in my life, or I want, a challenge and intellectual stimulation. Who knows what it is that you're going to see that you want? But begin to list them with no holds barred. And go ahead and list them for different domains of your life. First, start generally, start broadly, and list and just have this dialogue with your soul and trust whatever comes, okay? And define it. Now, the second, number 2 step in defining success on your terms is to stop seeking outside of yourself, all right? The minute that you write down something that you want or notice something that you want, and then you think to yourself, oh, but my husband would never go for that, or oh, that wouldn't be so good for my kids, or oh, what would my parents think, or whatever it is, stop it. Just stop it. You have to stop seeking the answers outside of yourself. And it's really hard because our patriarchal dominance culture has taught us to seek the answers outside of ourselves. We are taught not to ask too many questions and to simply look to others to tell us what to do. Now, I myself love to find someone who's got more experience, more wisdom, more understanding than I have become aware of. And I believe we all have it within us as we develop it and cultivate it. But I love to find those people and allow them to be my mentors and my guides and my teachers and authors of books that I read and so on and so forth. So absolutely keep learning. Absolutely keep learning, but we have to learn from our vantage point. We have to be learning from someone who's willing to allow us to ask questions, to challenge them on what they're teaching, to come with a new perspective. And we have to stop seeking approval or permission or some kind of validation outside of ourselves. That is number 2. All right, so first, what do you want? Clarify what you want. And second, stop seeking outside of yourselves. Once you see things that you want, don't go asking someone, is this a good idea? What do you think of this? Sit with it for a while. Let yourself digest it. I always give myself at least 3 days to kind of digest that thing that I've been stewing over before I immediately go out there and test it out or try something out or maybe run it by a trusted friend or mentor. Sit with it. It's hard to do. I'm not always good at it myself, so I totally understand. But take some time to pause, to sit with those feelings, to sit with those thoughts, okay? The third thing that you're going to want to do to define success on your terms is let go of the old stories, all right? We have so many old stories, so much old programming, so much old thinking going on in our heads, and it's programmed by our patriarchal dominance culture, okay? We have this society that says certain things need to be done a certain way. There's a hierarchy, there's a process, there's the status quo that we're supposed to follow, all right? Those are stories. There are rules to be followed. Whose rules? Who made those rules? Are they really your rules? Okay, we need to be asking ourselves, what do I need to let go of to actually bring this new definition of success into my life? We might need to let go of thinking things have to happen a certain way. I know myself, I can tend to be very tenacious and perseverant about going after something and making it happen. And I've had a lot of great manifesting success in my life. And at the same time, I can get holding on a little too tightly to the way I think it's supposed to turn out. We may have this definition of success and we may present it to the world and open ourselves up to it and declare it to a witness and all of that and give all this energy behind it. But we're not letting go of some of the things like the how, the way in which, the when in which it's going to happen, right? We need to be willing to let go of those things, let go of the rules around it, right? I mean, a great example is maybe we have this idea of success includes a really wonderful partner in our lives, you know, a love interest, an intimate partner, a marital partner, whatever it is. And you have this predefined definition of what love looks like. And when you get attached to that predefined definition, we can block off the love. We can block off the possibilities because maybe we think love only looks a certain way. I want to emphasize that we often don't know what it's going to look like, and we need to let go of our attachment. We need to surrender any kind of clinging to the way we think it's all going to happen, all right? Number 4 is to believe in your success, to believe that you can have it. Now, I've done some other videos on mindset and mindfulness and how to tap into that. I encourage you to take a look at those. There's a whole concept around our own personal belief, and the number one discourse that we have, especially in the United States, is I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'll never measure up. Nobody's gonna like me. We're afraid of judgment. We're afraid of putting ourselves out there. I've been there too. I still go there at times. And the truth is, if we're not being a little bit controversial or maybe countercultural, if you will, we often are not standing in our truth because every one of us has a unique perspective. And the cultural norm often has this more collective perspective that is expected of people. And so you often see people that break the barriers, right? And no matter what you think of them, you can't fault them for the fact that they're taking a chance. They're doing something differently. Some of the greatest inventors and business people and artists in the world have chosen to take a path that is counter to the cultural norms. And part of it is because they believed enough in themselves, they believed enough in what they wanted, what success they had in mind for themselves, the vision that they had for themselves, that they were willing to go after it, okay? And I heard this amazing idea recently that when we are interested in something, we're gonna do what's convenient to move toward it. But when we're genuinely committed to it, we are going to do whatever it takes. And being committed is really believing in it. So if you want that success that you notice, that definition, the what you want, the what you desire, there is a whole effort that needs to be made to really believe in yourself. Now, I can sit there and tell you and myself all day long, just believe in yourself, just believe in yourself. I get it. It's really hard. We have years and years of programming that we've gotten since we were young. And it's really difficult. It can be really challenging to deprogram ourselves. And that comes from the concept of practice. We have to be willing to practice it. So every time you catch yourself not believing in the dream, going back to what everybody else says or thinks, right? Or clinging to an idea, right? So you can kind of reverse engineer this, right? If you start to find yourself straying away from number one, which is to define the success in terms of what you want, what you desire, if you start forgetting that, probably you've gotten stuck in not believing in your success or yourself. You've gotten stuck in clinging or holding on to things that don't belong, and you've ended up kind of asking everyone else, and they've started to talk you out of it, or you're too worried about what everybody else is going to think for you to actually go after that. These are some of the most common things that keep us stuck, that keep us from moving forward. And when we can learn to define success on our terms and keep practicing these steps to actually go after it, our whole lives can begin to change. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I encourage you to subscribe if you haven't. Share this video with another. Share with me in the comments, what is your definition of success? How do you define success for yourself? I can't wait to read it, and I look forward to next time.